Welcome everyone to Running Remote Online. This is almost starting to feel familiar, right? Going to a conference in your underwear. No, I'm joking. I promise I'm wearing pants today. My name is Danny Page. With me, a newcomer who we're going to talk about and who you're going to get to know very well today. One of my co-MCs. We have another co-MC joining us from the West Coast later as well, Sharon Yaroslavsky. But Mike LaRosa. Mike, welcome, my friend. 12 hours of content coming. It's going to be a pretty special day.
Thanks so much. I'm so excited to be here. This is actually my first Running Remote event, but I've got plenty of coffee here. It's 6 a.m. in Orlando, Florida, and I've got my Lucky Llama mug, so I think we're ready to go.
Good luck to you. Good luck to all the speakers today. Good luck to all of us, really. And to say the least, good morning to those in the Americas. Good day to those of us in Europe. Good evening to everyone in Europe and Africa, I should say. And good evening to those in Asia and Australia. This is an online event like we have never had before at Running Remote. Our first talk will begin, and believe it or not, this might be the talk I am most excited about. I am a huge fan of one of the first speakers coming up. We'll talk about that momentarily. That first talk is coming up in 20 minutes. But we have live speakers and content spread out over 12 hours. So no matter what time zone you're in, you'll have the opportunity to listen to the speakers, engage with them, ask them questions, network, visit the booths for our sponsors, check out their products, and really be part of an event, a link like we've never had before, Mike. So I hope your coffee maker, I hope you have a lot of coffee filters or
I got plenty of pods. Yep. Yeah, and speaking about some of those exhibitors and some of the networking functions, for all of you that have registered with the free ticket, if you're interested in upgrading to networking, head on over to the reception tab, which is the home icon at the top. You can upgrade your ticket and take part in the video networking. I know I'm really excited about that feature. And then there's some pretty cool giveaways at the expo booths, right, Danny?
Yeah, exactly. And we'll be talking about those giveaways from some of our key partners who help make, an online event like this happen. I think that you pointed out something, Mike, that's really important, because we've got up to 15 minutes here before we get into these next two talks as we kick off Running Remote Online. Let's just do a little test drive of the Hopin platform. So for our first online event, Remote Aid, in April, I believe it was April 17th and 18th, which, I mean, what a time too, right? there were so many emotions. Everyone was locked inside. It was a pretty wild scenario. And here we are 7 months later.
Feels just like yesterday and maybe also a lifetime ago, right? The rate this year is going.
That's how the last year feels, Mike. But let's kind of go through a little test drive here with the Hopin platform. So reception is the core area where you can see everything that's going on all at once. On stages, you have access to the various stages. Sessions, networking, expo are pretty self-explanatory. I think one thing that's important, because we want engagement. We want to hear from you guys. In fact, I'm actually just going to click over to the stage chat. Wow, look at this. London, Croatia, Dobar dan. Berlin, Portugal, an awesome India. Look at this. We want you guys engaging. Yeah, wow, okay. We want you guys engaging. We want you as part of this. But Mike, one of the things that was really important is that when you're on a stage and you want to ask questions, you need to ask the questions in that stage, not in that event, okay? So that's important because we want these questions to get asked. Look at this. Rio, Portugal, Russia, Romania, Atlanta. You early risers, Mike. I'm proud of you. You were up for like our 3 a.m. production call today, Yeah.
Who needs to fly around the world when you've got the world coming to you in a virtual event, right?
I mean, you and I both want to fly around the world again sometime.
I know.
Okay, so
that's a sore subject, right?
Let's not push it, okay? We're going to get into taking a look at some of the panels we have today. But Mike, just you're going to be one of the key parts of this entire production today. And everybody knows me and my stupid shirts and my over-caffeinated, over-positive approach to life. But Mike, tell us about yourself briefly.
Yes, so I've just joined the Running Remote team about 2 weeks ago as our new head of content. So I kind of, we were joking yesterday, Danny and I, baptism by fire, dove right in to participate in today's event. And moving forward, as Running Remote pivoted from being in person to virtual, we've done a couple different events over the course of this year. And we've also recently launched this new online community. So I'm really looking forward to working more with Danny and the rest of the team, rolling out with new podcast episodes, bringing back some different YouTube playlists on our channel. But the way I ended up here, people might know me as the co-workaholic. Since 2015, I've been traveling around the world, co-working and traveling pretty much almost for free using airline points and credit card miles. And so I've been to a bunch of different co-working spaces. I've been a remote worker since 2012. I met Igor, the producer and co-founder of Running Remote, and Liam a couple years ago at a remote work festival. We hit it off, kept in touch. And when I saw this opportunity, I said, oh, this is a great way for me to share not only my passion for working remote, but also passion for co-working and the future of work and maybe some travel fun. So I'm really excited about talking about future of travel on our panel later today. So thanks for the warm welcome. I'm excited to be here.
Yeah, and that's quite a panel coming up later. I think one of sort of the early innovators, and I'd like to get into these panels, and I apologize if I'm looking to the right, I'm checking in on my other monitor, which so many of us have at home now, right? By the way, Stephanie King-Jones, the Llama Cup is fabulous. So first compliment of the day goes to Mike. Matt Kepnes is like really one of the early innovators of the digital nomad space, right? And like he was talking about that lifestyle and that type of travel well before any of us were doing it. And to think that your first panel is with Matt, talking about e-residency in Estonia, and really looking ahead, also leadership from Peerspace and Citizen M Hotels. Also looking ahead, this is an industry that has struggled this year. But you have to think with how many people are transitioning to remote, this industry, your industry, the working and travel industry, the digital, whatever we want to call it, is going to explode in late 2021.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I think this is maybe a little bit of a pause and a break that we all needed to prepare for what I really anticipate will be a boom. I think there's going to be beyond so much pent-up demand. On our pre-panel call, we were talking about people are now more willing to admit that they're working remotely, or companies that 8 months ago, 12 months ago would have never considered a remote work policy. It's now most definitely not even up for discussion. It's just kind of where we're going. So I'm really excited you mentioned the CEO from Peerspace. I would have never imagined in my entire life that United Airlines would have launched a partnership to bundle flights with meeting room and workspace. So there's a whole
right.
So it
it's
really,
a very Twilight Zone moment for someone in your industry, right?
Yeah, I was like, it's finally here. So,
right.
But yeah, it's those small world moments. I was a big fan of Nomadic Matt. Some of you might have read. He's got 2 books. His recent one just came out, 10 Years of Nomad. He kind of literally wrote the book. So I'm kind of pitching myself. Yeah, I'm pitching myself that my first panel for Running Remote is with him. I'm really excited.
So we're going to, the official time for this event is in Eastern time, but I'm going to try to do the sort of multi-clock scenario here. And I'll just tell you that panel coming up, emceed by Mike, begins at 10:50 Eastern, 4:50 here in Europe, 7:50 in the morning on the West Coast, and Hawaii, where our producer is. Well, I shouldn't say our producer, but our director, Natasha. I don't know. You're just on your own in terms of time zones today. Okay. I do want to we've got a few minutes left here, and one of the things I want to point out is I want to take a serious note a little bit. By the way, what was that name from Mike? Alexander, great question. The book, Mike, from Matt is called 10 Years a Nomad. Is that correct?
Yeah, that's his second book. So basically, the first one, I don't have the full title on me for the first one, but it was all about him becoming a nomad. And then the last one was 10 Years a Nomad.
If someone on the production team can drop in that link, that was something that was really important, is when a book is mentioned, wow, Kuala Lumpur as well. When a book is mentioned, if you can drop that link in, that's helpful. Thank you, Igor. Appreciate it. And the audiobook. He gets it. But I do want to take this to a serious tone for a minute. So we're going to experience, no matter how old you are, unless you're, 102, we're going to experience a holiday season and a winter like we've never had in our lives. And even if you're 102, people weren't working remotely then. But we're not going to be able to spend as much time with family. We're going to be more restricted inside. Businesses are going to be functioning differently. And the content for today is going to be so incredibly pivotal, guys, to understand how your business really should be functioning over these essential months as we roll out into Q1. Mike, I'm not trying to be doom and gloom, but like for the first time in my life, I'm going to be in Spain. I'm not going to have Thanksgiving and Christmas with my family. And that's hard. That's the reality. And how I work and how my mind, it's going to change. It's just going to be really different.
Yeah, I mean, I've bunkered down here. Upton left Chicago,
Right.
Didn't spend a winter in quarantine and lockdown. I, too, will be spending both Thanksgiving and Christmas without my folks, which is a first for Christmas at least. But I have to say, what you just said kind of just struck a note with me. The last time the world went through something like this, there was no such thing as remote work, right? And so it really is fascinating that even though there are challenges and there are downsides to being in isolation or quarantine or lockdown, how amazing is it that we do have tools and technology such as this, right? Like, could you imagine quarantining and locking down during the 1918s without Netflix, right?
Mike, what if this was even 10 years ago? It would be a mess.
Yeah,
it would be a mess.
Yeah, so I think it's so exciting and important to have programming like this, where not only do we have leaders of remote first companies, but now more than ever, we've got leadership from traditional enterprise corporations that are learning how to lead their workforce in ways that they've never done before. And it is exciting. I don't know if you just saw, Google just announced that they are going to have this new concept of like no meeting weeks. So not only have they given some of their employees a few extra days off, they're actually starting to block off weeks where teams can go meeting free to provide folks a little bit more work-life balance, because you and I have been working remotely or from home for quite some time.
People here. Yeah, many people.
Yeah, many people here. But there's a lot of folks that are really new to this world. So they are struggling with that work-life balance, remembering to step away from the computer, take a break. And so I'm grateful that we've got content today and some great panelists and speakers that can help spread the word.
We'll be jumping right into one of these panels momentarily. I do want to say, guys, what makes this possible? What makes this possible are our partners, our gold team partner, remoteteam.com. We'll be hearing from their founder and CEO, Shaheen, who is one of the brilliant thinkers in the business. We'll be hearing from him later today. Exact IT, Voodle, GrowWork, With Locals, eResidency in Estonia, Remo, Bottleneck, Fellow App. These are our key partners that help make this happen. And I even saw a member of the of the With Locals team. Phenomenal. Thank you so much for showing up from Amsterdam. With Locals for Business, we really appreciate your involvement today. This panel coming up on stage one is phenomenal. One of my favorite thinkers in the space, Hassan Osman. I know you're in the backstage. I'm a fan. I'm a big fan. I've been a fan since the Yonder podcast a few years ago, and that starts in 5 minutes. Mike, we'll see you over on stage 2 in 5 minutes as well. 12 hours and 15 minutes left. What a day it's going to be.